looked as strong on this Kha'Zix as he has done with other champions. You know, he tried to play champions like Jax and everything, but again, they go for the center first pick. This is the exact same as the previous game. Same bans, same first pick. Now, will J-Team go for the Singed and the Wukong? Will they do the exact same thing again? Honestly, if you're J-Team, just run it back again. Just do the exact same thing. There you go. Exact same thing. This is game 2.
Top-notch analysis through it. That's good call, going back for the Singed and Wukong again. And we saw what happened here, right? With the Singed and Wukong, they had a lot of proactivity on the map. Han was able to get a bunch of pickoffs.
Yeah, for sure. They were able to roam around the map. They were able to set up that mid-jungle duo, is what they said on the analyst desk as well. And that's a great thing, you know, if they're able to roam around, if they're able to get the bot lane ahead, bury ahead, they were able to just get them little advantages.
And one of the big things about this, we have a competition with amazing mid-jungle duels. Cherry and Pan have been in the forefront of the discussion for one of the best mid-jungle duels.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you. I feel like, you know, even though this team is there's a lot of carries, there's a lot of MVP performances from this whole team. I feel like, you know, Cherry and Pan has definitely been one of the best mid and jungle duos. Even though Berry has performed really well on the bot side as well. You know, as I mentioned before this game, highest average KDA in the entire tournament. But now, Cookie's going to switch things up. He's like, I'm done with the Kha'Zix. No Kha'Zix anymore. I'm going to go for Olaf. I'm going to run you down. And as you can see there on the AR, just slam you down with lightning.
Oh, absolutely. One of the best parts about having the Olaf is the fact you already have the Senna, right? And you can get some additional value. You don't really need the Karma as much. Generally, you want some kind of utility with the Olaf to make it a little easier. But with the Senna, you actually kind of get that and damage as well.
I think the great thing with Olaf as well is that J-Team are going for this pick comp, like we've been mentioning.
That's true.
A lot of crowd control, a lot of pick potential. But Olaf is a champion. He hits the Ragnarok, he hits the ultimate button, and he's immune to crowd control. He won't be able to get flipped, he won't be able to get knocked up by the Wukong or even the Riven at the same time. And honestly, this is really good adaptation. I really like this from Flash Wolves, going on a champion with a bit more scaling as well and a bit more carry potential in the hands of Cookie.
We say that, but it's been like one pick changed. And then one pick changed. So we still have to see how Flash Wolves close out their composition. They have 2 more picks to go for, and they need to decide what that's going to mean for the team. If they have something in store for us, now is the time to show it.
Yep.
Last game on the line here, up against J-Team. They do not win this. Their competition run ends. And so, need to see if they have anything still in store.
Most of these second bans are all the same as well. The same Darius ban as the second ban phase, the same Orion. They actually ban away the Thresh. I think DY had a really great performance. Lulu. Okay.
Kind of like that, you know, like taking away any possibility Flash Wolves might want to run that.
Yeah, the Lulu Olaf is a very, very classic combo that's been in Wild Rift for a very, very long time. You know, just buffing up the Olaf as much as possible, and especially with Yuumi out of the cards now, Karma out of the cards, and also Lulu now out of the cards. Honestly, a very, very smart takeaway for the side of J-Team. Now Flash Wolves are like, who else do you go? Maybe do you go for the Nami? Do you go for potentially the Janna? There's again the Lucian pick. We did say, or the analyst desk did say, sorry, that they were thinking maybe, you know, could this be a Bruce mid lane Lucian? And they go for a Kali as well. Is this Ysera Kali?
I think
or maybe Ysera Lucian.
I think it might have to be. I think it's Ysera on the Akali. And he's played this before in the WCS finals. This has been a matchup he's gone up against the likes of Team Flash, for example.
And Berry's just like, you know what? You played Vayne. You didn't have the best performance. I'm going to show you how to play Vayne. I'm going to show you how to play the Vayne Lulu bot lane as well. But, I mean, we saw the opposite side of this matchup. We saw how much Bruce struggled against Senna as a Vayne.
I don't know, sir.
Is this going to be the other way around?
This is kind of, you know, if J-Team win this matchup, I don't know how to feel about this. If J-Team, Berry and DY win the matchup against Bruce and Easton, I don't know how Bruce and Easton...
The advantage of J-Team and also the weakness of Flash Wolves have been, and... Okay, it's Bruce on the center again and Bayer again on the Lucian, so doing the same thing. But again, they've changed things up. They've now got Ysera on the Kali, so more backline access. You can try and get onto the Vayne in the backline.
And maybe the last game here for both sides is match point for J-Team. They just have to close out one more game, whereas Flash Wolves need to fight and claw back for 3. And you made the prediction here, 3-0s. One off with the Roaster Y1. Do we get to see Flash Wolves break that again?
Will they try and get it? But look, again, more trades in this bot. They're just constant fights all the time in this bot side of the map.
And somehow seems closer than what we had seen in game number 1.
Yeah, don't say that. That's really bad.
I'm just saying, you know, it just looks like Bruce and Easton are still winning the matchup a little bit, but Berry and DY making it closer. So we have to see how they execute this, make it work in their favor. of course, on the Bruce and Easton side, I want to see them scale. I want to see them take their time a little bit more, but at the same time, not give away as much. We saw what happened in Game 2, not fighting for the objective trade, so we had Rift Herald go down and Dragon going down to J-Team. I want to see Flash Wolves take those exchanges better.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like J-Team have to... Oh no, sorry. Flash Wolves have to try and stop this Rift Herald, because I think J-Team have been prioritizing Rift Herald quite a lot. They took 2 Rift Heralds in Game number 1 and Game number 2, and they were just taking small advantages through the towers. Now for the side of Flash Wolves, you have to stop this momentum. You have to somehow just stop J-Team from rotating around the map. I want to see maybe a bit more vision control in the river from Flash Wolves. Get a few visions down, maybe get a few control wards in the river, maybe a few normal wards as well. And just try and read how J-Team are going to play, because they've had a few games against J-Team now. They know how they play. Flash Wolves know that J-Team love to rotate around the map. They love to group as 5 members. And at the same time, you have to think for Flash Wolves that you have to find a way to try and stop that.
It is very interesting that you've mentioned that about the vision, because you can see now Flash Wolves have actually made the attempt to set up vision around this bottom side here, right? You have multiple wards covering a lot of the entrance points for Cherry, who is towards the bot side, so kudos to them. They will know that this is going to be happening, but still at the same time, Flash Wolves have to keep this momentum going. I want to see them be able to be consistent with this and not only do it when they are even or ahead, but also when they're behind.
Yeah, exactly. They need to make sure that they track down Cherry, because Cherry's performed really, really well. You know, 3 Wukong games in a row now for Cherry in this series, and he's performed extremely well. But as you mentioned, you know, the bot side, the vision, you can see blue wards, blue vision all across the river, as well as there's exchanges in the bot side, but...
Very good trade here from Bruce.
Again, Berry's the one this time that's just playing really aggressive in this lane against the Senna, and it's a losing matchup for Vayne in the early game, and you're just giving Senna more and more stacks.
You know how it is. It's the Vayne syndrome. You know, you gotta go in. You gotta do damage. You gotta get stuff done.
You know, I tweeted as well after the first game. I was like, Bruce played Vayne like I do in solo queue, an exact same result. I just lose with Vayne every single time. This is why I don't play Vayne. People will know. I do not play. Vayne and Draven are my 2 champions that I just cannot play. It's impossible. I just run it down.
Sure.
Not intentionally, by the way. Just saying. I'm just not as mechanically good with them champions, so it might look like I don't perform as well.
On the global broadcast, Stuart has openly exposed himself with his, let's say, gameplay.
Yeah, I would say gameplay. We won't talk about ints or anything like that. We'll say gameplay. I think gameplay is the right way to say it.
Oh, of course. That's okay. I won't leave you hanging. I'm in the same boat as you are, so.
That's not bad then. I guess we're both as bad as each other.
Flash Wolves making the 4-man attempt in the bottom side. A catch on to Barry as Barry flashes away, still getting taken down. First blood going over to Flash Wolves.
And this is the exact same thing as what I was saying in draft. This is the change that I wanted. I wanted Cookie. I wanted Bayo to rotate down to this bot side. Get Barry behind, because you don't want this Vayne to just free farm. You don't want the Vayne to scale. And I really like this. You know, Cookie going down to the bot side. They get the tower dive. They get the first blood as well. And that means that Bruce will get a little bit of an advantage. And the first blood did go into Cookie's hands as well. Ooh. So he's going to be able to complete the Black Lead.
Actually, very nice here. 1,500 gold up for Flash Wolves to start this game off. This is probably the biggest gold lead that we've seen from them in this series so far. And makes sense here. You have a couple of scaling options on the side J-Team. So I think we should be talking about this here. Flash Wolves versus J-Team. Both sides have scaling options. Who does what better in the late game?
Ooh. I feel like Flash Wolves do have a bit of an advantage in the late game. It's actually very close in my opinion.
Sure.
I think that it's all down to how Flash Wolves can shut down Berry. If they can shut down Berry and if they can take out this Vayne, then, you know, they'll be completely fine. But again, this is the same adaptation that I was talking about as well. Flash Wolves now instead prioritizing the Rift Herald instead of the J-Team, which means that they're just going to try and accelerate this gold lead that they have already.
With the tempo, you go for the Rift Herald instead, whereas the team that wants to scale goes to the Dragon. So J-Team secure the Ocean Drake for themselves. Pan pulls attention away from Flash Wolves.
I like this. I like this. Cookie, again, more proactiveness from Flash Wolves. They want to go in. They want to try and accelerate this gold lead even more. It was 1,500. They're now going to be able to get mid lane tower as well. There we go. First tower of the game. Rift Herald as well. And that's a great thing about Rift Herald. You're able to take down the first tower of the game. That's normally what you do most of the time with Rift Herald. You have the scaling on the other side with the Dragon. but now Flash Wolves about 2,000 gold leads.
A good job done here by Flash Wolves, having acknowledged, like, okay, so here are our issues in game number 1 and 2, and now being able to respond by that. They get first turret, they get the Rift Child, they get a lot of early tempo against J-Team. We'll see if they're able to keep this one going, but so far, looking good.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I think J-Team took the first 2 Rift Heralds of the first 2 games. They were able to accelerate the gold lead that they had in the early game, and now it's Flash Wolves. Flash Wolves like, okay, we realize that J-Team want to go for Rift Herald. Let's go for Rift Herald ourselves, and let's be on the front foot ourselves, because I think like Flash Wolves are trying to... we're playing very reactive in the first 2 games, but now they're the ones, look at this, playing proactive. 2 towers to 0 now for J-Team, and... I mean, so for Flash Wolves, sorry, now Barry's going to try and get a tower for himself. They're going to try and get the mid lane tower, but there's no minions in the mid lane. But they will get the top tower, though, so it's a little bit of gold into Vayne's back pocket. But Flash Wolves doing a really, really good job in this early game.
But what I do like seeing here from Flash Wolves is that through those 2 turrets, they actually open up the map so much more.
Yep.
Right? Especially with the mid lane turret takedown, now they get to have so much more access. You can see the vision around both sides of the mid lane, giving them a little bit more security as they get to extend further into the map of J-Team.
And now this is one thing that J-Team does really well that I want to see Flash Wolves do. When J-Team open up the map, they look to get deep vision into the enemy jungle. They look to try and find out and figure out the rotations of where Flash Wolves is going. I want Flash Wolves to do that now. I want Flash Wolves to be like, okay, we need to get deep vision. We need to try and track down Cherry and Pan's rotation, because I feel like Cherry and Pan's rotation in this entire series of what's been make and break. And you can see as well, you know, the rotations and them grouping as 5 is what's been the main difference. So I want to see Flash Wolves use the wards that they have. And you can see that J-Team are in the enemy jungle. They're behind in gold, but they still feel confident enough to walk through the enemy jungle like this. It's
absolutely
crazy how confident they play.
It's a different look, right? When Flash Wolves are behind, they have difficulty trying to get into the enemy jungle, but when J-Team is behind, they are more than willing to take this exchange.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst case scenario here for J-Team? I lose a couple members, but I get so much more if I succeed.
It's crazy to me how J-Team still has this much confidence, even when they're behind in gold as well. We mentioned how J-Team do so well when they're ahead of gold in terms of taking over control of the map, but they're still trying to do the same when they're behind in gold. But now, Dawn might be in a bit of trouble.
Heavy rotations towards the top side. They're looking for the tag onto Dawn. Dawn taking a good deal of damage here. Might lose his life to the piercing light. Culling used as well, but a flash away in a barrier. Dawn gets away safely.
And that's another tower over to Flash Wolves. Again, it's Flash Wolves the one this time. I feel like the sides have completely swapped. I feel like Flash Wolves playing towards how J-Team have been playing this entire series, with the aggression from the rotations around the map. Flash Wolves take 2 towers up in the top side. They're going to look to rotate to the mid lane. They might even try and catch out Pan here as well. I'm really loving this change from Flash Wolves.
The rest of J-Team very far away, and Pan rooted under turret. He does not have the hourglass. Gets knocked back here by Easton and still alive. Isera might go down. 1 more dog damage out from Pan, but will not be able to get it done. Cherry walks over, and of course, the Nimbus strike for the kill.
Was it the strike or was it smite? I think he might have just smited.
Oh, was that smite?
I don't know actually. I don't know if he actually auto-attacked him or
like this mini animation where he kind of like twitched, like Cherry kind of twitched. The Wukong kind of like flinched a little bit, and then the kill went over. So
maybe
I was
it was.
Like, I'm just gonna assume it was, but like, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I thought it was just a big ego thing. It's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna smite you. You're dead anyway. You're low enough on health that smite will do enough damage.
Does a challenging smite like do damage instantaneously? It's
yeah,
DOT,
it's
right?
straight.
Okay.
I don't think it's DOT. I think it's instant damage.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
With chilling smite,
oh, you're really testing my knowledge now. I'm not a jungle main as well. I'm trying to think. Does it? I'm pretty sure it does do instant damage.
Blue smite I know is like instant damage. Yeah, we'll take it as it is. It's something killed him. Something killed Isera.
Something. He's dead anyway. But now he's back alive anyway, and everyone's back on the map. But Dawn looking for the flank now, and
yeah.
I like how Flash Wolves are trying to again go for this Rift Tower. They're trying to fight as well, and actually for Flash Wolves, they could look to try and engage here, because Dawn is completely split, and Ysera is just there by himself as well. Just zoning Dawn from the rest of the team.
Telling you to try and keep them away, but Cherry gets decided to dive in. Rift Tower goes over to Flash Wolves, and Redemption comes through, dishing out an actual sizable amount of damage. Ysera off by the side as well. Pan looking for this re-entry angle, but they will not find it.
Really well played by Flash Wolves. They realized that Dawn was split up from the rest of the team. They used this Ysera to distract Dawn away from the Rift Herald, and now they're going to move towards this Dragon as well. Flash Wolves look like a completely different team in this third game. The first 2 games was all about J-Team taking control of the map and just being able to walk over Flash Wolves like they were just kids, really. But now Flash Wolves will come into the third game like adults, and they're coming for a fight.
I know what this is. I know what this is, Stuart. Right? Flash Wolves had not learned that cherries were not a droop prior to game number 3. And now with this new information in store, they now have anti-droop measures in plan, right? Cherry has not got one successful gank up, right? He's had a couple of good skirmishes, but not one good gank up, right? Anti-droop strategies now in play for Flash Rolls.
What would it even be an anti-troop strategy? I was trying to think through my head. It's like, what's an...
Don't worry about it.
How do you do you know what? Really stop talking about fruits and vegetables and berries and cherries. Even though we do have berries and cherries in this. But it's Flash Wolves that are going in onto Cherry this time.
There we go. Anti-droop strategies in play. Cherry nearly gets taken down. J-Team set running back into the jungle. Flash Rolls now with the lead and pressing the advantage.
Yep, I love this from Flash Wolves. I love this. They're pressing, like you said, they're pressing the advantage. They're playing aggressive as well. They have the, decent scaling as well with the center, but this Vayne has only died once from that tower dive in the bot side. Vayne has Blade of Rune King, has Wit's End, going to go for more attack speed as well. And the later this game goes, the scarier Vayne gets. Vayne is one of the best, if not the best, late game scaling champions in the entire game, in the entire Wild Rift champion roster. And
with Lulu.
Yeah, with Lulu by her side as well, means that more shields, more heals, more attack speed, and more damage as well. Has the exhaust, and I feel like Flash Wolves, they have champions to deal with though. They have the Gragas, which has the potential to deal with it. Going for a lot more damage as well. They can use the explosive cast to try and split up the rest of the team from Berry. You have the Akali as well that can jump in onto the backline. So Flash Wolves, I feel like, have ways to deal with Vayne this game.
So it's about Flash Rolls being able to execute and get that done. Having Eason, having Cookie, multiple options. But of course, on the side of J-Team, it's not just a single threat that you have to worry about. You still have Dawn and Cherry in play here. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you still have them to just... I think Dawn's going to be really the secondary carry here. And look at this again, Flash Wolves on the front foot. They want to try and get more towers. This could be their 5th tower of the game. I think this is more towers than they got in the first 2 games in total. And this is, like I said, this is a whole different Flash Wolves team from what we saw from the first 2 games, and honestly I'm really liking it. And now they're starting to get some deep vision as well. You see they've got a few wards now in the jungle territory of J-Team. They're pushing on the pressure as well. With only Baron up and available, I don't think they're going to actually risk taking the Baron at all. But they could look towards it. I mean, they don't have the fastest Baron clear team in total, but
they don't have the Vayne.
They can They can look to try and bait J-Team in, which is what J-Team did really well. They baited Flash Wolves in the first 2 games. They were like, okay, you need to come to us because you don't have vision. I want to see Flash Wolves do the same now. You can see in the goal lead as well. Flash Wolves had a goal lead throughout this entire game, and they're looking really good in this 3rd game.
I mean, it's only a kill apiece, but Flash Wolves have been able to find 5 turrets in that time. They've been able to make moves around the map, and even that 5th turret before the Baron spawned, and so they were able to go back to base, reset, and come back in. Now, I like what Flash Wolves are doing. It's something you've mentioned earlier here as well, Stuart. Vision in the enemy side of the jungle, but it's in the bottom side where there are no objectives to be had. Flash Wolves need to move that vision line towards the Baron and set up shop there.
And maybe they're just preparing for the Dragon, which should be coming up fairly soon. Not too sure of the exact time, maybe about 1 minute 30, 2 minutes away from that Dragon. Maybe they're just early preparing for the Dragon because they know that if Dragons go over to the side of J-Team, that means it's going to be more scaling for them, especially in the Mountain Dragon as well, which means they're going to get that little bit of extra shielding. But you can see that they're starting to move towards this Baron, but J-Team, they're not taking a risk. They're not moving forward. They're trying to death brush themselves in their own jungle this time. They're just like, okay, if we can't do it in your jungle, we'll do it in our own jungle instead. But you can see why they're starting it.
Yeah, they got vision. They started up the Baron.
It's half health already. They're going to get it.
Have no idea. It's already down to 4,000. Redemption finally comes down. J-Team have some idea this is going on. Cherry quickly runs into the pit. But he's too far away. The Flash will not be able to get him in pit in time. Flash will sneak away the Baron away from J-Team without them knowing.
They snuck it away. That was perfectly well played by Flash Wolves. They used the vision control. J-Team were like, okay, you're not going to do this. J-Team, I think on the back of 9 were like, you're not going to do this, Flash Wolves. You're not going to be able to take Baron that quickly, but I beg to differ. I think I kind of misplayed myself really there. They were able to take down Baron fast enough, and now Flash Wolves, what are they going to do with this Baron? They need to try and get more towers, try and get more of advantage as well. The next Dragon is up in 10 seconds, and Flash Wolves are on the front foot.
3 items in the back pocket of Barry at this point, and so he has enough damage to have an impact in these fights, but still a worrisome situation here for JD. They're going to give away the Dragon. No point fighting the Baron empowered Flash Wolves at this point. They just want to keep things going long enough to ensure they have a secured win.
Yep, for sure. That's They're going to look to try and split the map now. They've got one member in the mid, 2 members in the mid lane, sorry, 3 members in the bot side of the map. So they're going to try and use the Baron powered up minions to try and push multiple lanes, and this is what you want to do with Baron, you know, for people at home. If you've got Baron buff, you want to try and push multiple lanes at once. Try not to get caught out, obviously, but try and push multiple ways like this. Create different sources of pressure around the map. And if you could do this, then J-Team have to decide, okay, do we go to the bot lane or do we go to the mid lane? Instead, they're going to try and look for a fight.
Grabs picked up on
the explosive
Ethan, but a
cast!
huge explosive cast, and not bad. J-Team taking down Pan right away, but still looking towards Barry to see if he has the damage to finish off the fight. Sarah dives into the base of J-Team. Barry outputting damage. He's kiting between Flash Wolves, but 5 members stand in his way. Flash Wolves pick up the bot side inhibitor. Now, continuing the fight, Barry gets hit by the exhaust. Trading back, they move on to Bruce. Baya still outputting damage. Cherry gets caught in a bad position. Quickly dashing
Cherry,
into
he's dead!
to take down Cherry. 3 dead on the side of J-Team. Flash
They're gonna try and
find
end.
their chance. They have 5 still left alive. Barry taking damage, taking shots from Flash Wolves. They go on to the next.
They're gonna end
There's
it.
no chance for J-Team to fight back. Flash Wolves will game back against JT.
I love it. The adaptation from Flash Wolves in this game was perfect. It's exactly what I was saying in draft. I want them to be on the front foot, go for the Rift Heralds, take down the towers, make sure that Berry gets put behind. Cookie with the only roams down in the bot side. Bayer with the...
Every tournament they play, basically. I think this entire year, they haven't lost a single series that went to match point. So if they win this next game, I don't want to say they can reverse sweep that. I don't want to jinx anything here, but they could do it. Hypothetically.
He doesn't want to jinx anything here. We've heard
That's why
this
he's being
before,
very
Omo.
careful.
We've heard this before.
Yeah,
so Flash Wolf
yeah.
fans, you know who to blame. At Omo_2.
Omo 2 underscore
Omo 2
actually. Yeah,
underscore.
that's
Let's
the
make
one.
sure. Let's make sure we
Don't
get
send
it
hate mail
correct
to the
here.
wrong guy.
Take a look at the damage. Sorry, other Omo. Take a look at the damage charts there in the gold. Basically, Flash Wolves just playing a game of Wild Rift that you don't need to match the hands here, and I think it's a little different because J-Team has had the better fights so far. We've called out the Riven on the top